Amsterdam, July of 2021. On the banks of a canal in the city centre, a crowd of people gather to pay their respects. Some of them shed tears. They came from all over the Netherlands to pay their last respects to one of the country's most famous figures, Peter de Vries. The star journalist of Dutch television, shot dead in the street a few days earlier. Peter de Vries was 64 years old, an investigative journalist specializing in criminal cases. For more than 30 years, he kept Dutch viewers on the edge of their seats with his hard-hitting investigations.
Peter de Vries, misdaadverslaggever.
U bent getuige bij een programma dat onthult wat politie en onderwereld altijd geheim willen houden, maar u toch moet weten.
For several months, he'd been working on a story following an ultra-violent mafia that was operating in the Netherlands. There was a price on his head, but he refused police protection. His murder took place in the heart of Amsterdam. It's 7 p.m. Peter de Vries, in a light-coloured suit, leaves the studio where he recorded his program. He goes home. He doesn't know that the killers have been following him. Peter is shot 5 times at close range.
Voor Nederland zoveel heeft betekend en voor zoveel mensen iets heeft betekend en daarnaast nu gewoon slachtoffer is geworden waar hij juist zo hard tegen vechtte. En ja, daarom voelde ik wel gewoon de drang om hier naartoe te komen.
It's really shocking, horrible that something can happen. Then you're back from work and then you shut.
Wat denkt u dat dit betekent voor de Nederlandse samenleving?
Ontwrichting.
Ja.
Ja, ik ben ook naar de plek van schietpartij geweest, 3 keer, 2 keer met bomen. Ik heb daar mensen gesproken. Ik vond het ongelooflijk verdriet, betrokkenheid, stilte. Gruwelijk. Ja.
En wat bedoelt u met ontwrichting?
Nou, dat de samenleving toch in bepaalde opzichten onzeker wordt van wat krijgen we nou in dit land. Het is een vreedzaam land.
This murder is not a unique case. This is the latest in a series of assassinations coordinated by drug traffickers, a phenomenon that is now threatening the whole of Europe. It seems hard to believe, but the Netherlands, with its tulip fields and windmills, is now the new playground of drug cartels. In less than 10 years, the Netherlands and Belgium have become the main gateway for cocaine into Europe. This is because the 2 largest ports on the continent are located here, Rotterdam and Antwerp. Thousands of ships from all over the world pass through every week. It's now estimated that between 50 and 80% of the cocaine consumed in Europe is hidden in these containers. For customs officers, it's a real headache. It's impossible to check all the loads. Paul Meyer was one of the players in this traffic in the 2000s. He agreed to reveal some of his tricks to us.
This is a boat from South America. And then you know that this boat is coming back here. So you need people here or you don't need somebody. Somebody put the containers out and simple. It's not difficult.
In the ports, fear has set in. The dockers are constantly harassed by traffickers who want to recruit them.
They try to have your name, but when you not cooperate with them, they threaten you, do something to you or yourself. Dangerous business.
This traffic gave birth to a new mafia, led by Dutch people, all of Moroccan origin, the Mocro Mafia. Powerfully armed, these gangs are ultra-violent and do not hesitate to use torture. One of their members testifies.
Als hier iemand dood moet, gaat hij dood. Of er dan vrouw of een kind bij zit, het maakt er niet uit. Als je maar doodgaat.
These drug traffickers feel invincible. Attacks on journalists, a murder of a lawyer. Even the Dutch Prime Minister is not safe from their threats. A terrifying prospect to end up on their blacklist.
I'm protected by the Dutch military police, a special unit of them, a very professional unit. But I'm not allowed to say anything about how this protection is organized.
This cocaine trafficking generates tens of billions of euros each year. The authorities are concerned. Are Belgium and the Netherlands becoming the first narco states in the heart of Europe? A suburb of Amsterdam, March 2022. The beginning of an extraordinary trial. A large police force was deployed around this building, which at first sight seems to be ordinary, but is in fact highly secure. A bunker. It has been specially designed for trials related to organized crime, with surveillance cameras, armored windows and permanently closed shutters. It's here that one of the most powerful bosses of the Mocro Mafia will be judged. He arrives in an armored vehicle. Ridouan Taghi, 44 years old. According to the police, he controls 30% of the cocaine traffic in Europe and has an estimated fortune of almost 100 million euros. Alongside him, 16 of his accomplices. They are being prosecuted for 6 murders and approximately 20 attempted murders. An intense trial. It's forbidden to film or even draw the faces of magistrates. Journalists follow the debates in a small room far away. According to Wouter Laumans, an expert on criminal cases, this trial is a first in the Netherlands.
The prosecutors are now anonymous. They ask us not to write down their name, also of the judges, and it says something about the fear that's around the whole Marengo trial.
In the courtroom, protected by bulletproof glass, the key witness of the trial. He's the former right-hand man of Ridouan Taghi, but since he agreed to collaborate with the police, there's been one death after another in his entourage.
When they announced that they had a crown witness, within weeks his brother was killed, and later on his lawyer was murdered, and then Mr. Peter R. de Vries became his trust person, like his representative in the media, and he got murdered last summer.
From the depths of his prison, Ridouan Taghi rains terror. The witness's first lawyer had been murdered at his home in front of his wife. Today, a new lawyer replaces him. He lives under close protection 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He agreed to meet with us. Peter Schouten arranged to meet us at the long beaches along the North Sea, 2 hours drive from Amsterdam. He's 65 years old and his life has changed with this trial.
I'm now in the protection for a year, more than a year.
How does it feel living like this?
Well, it's a little bit to be like a package, but actually I'm proud I can do this job, and I would never let anybody intimidate me. It's important that a suspect has a lawyer, somebody has to do it. And for me it feels important that in a democracy we follow the rule of law.
Military personnel in plain clothes are never far. The lawyer was a close friend of journalist Peter de Vries. Both had been informed by the secret services that they were on Ridouan Taghi's blacklist.
We were discussing the dangers, the risks, and it was clear that we discussed the fact that one of us could be shot, but we, of course, didn't know who would be the first one. I told Peter that he was the biggest prize because he's very famous, and therefore it would create far more chaos than that it would be to kill me.
While working on this trial, the two friends discovered how powerful Ridouan Taghi's organization was and how much of a threat it posed to the Netherlands.
My client has made statements up to 1,500 pages about how they work and how they do the killings, how they spot the victims. It really shows a very organized way of doing their business. This is actually also something that makes it very difficult for the Netherlands to fight with. The authorities are quite unorganized and crime is quite organized.
These mafia gangs were built around the cocaine trade that has exploded in the Netherlands in recent years. But the government has long underestimated this phenomenon. Yet in Amsterdam, one man warned of the rise of this new crime. This is Wouter Laumans, the journalist we met during the trial of Ridouan Taghi. He's written 2 books on the subject.
The first one, Mocro Mafia. This was published in 2014. I sold about 140,000 copies we sold.
The book became a social phenomenon and even inspired a fictional series on Dutch television.
We wilden de school laten schrikken. Zij begonnen gek te doen. We moesten wel reageren.
The Dutch witnessed the merciless war between gangs to take control of the cocaine trade. Mocro Mafia is a slang term chosen by Wouter to refer to the Moroccan mafia.
As we all know, a lot of hashish gets smuggled from Morocco to Europe. So what is like the epicenter of European soft drug culture? It's Amsterdam with the coffee shops. So the whole infrastructure was already there. Then in Colombia, the cocaine cartels started targeting Europe as a market. They started shipping the drugs to West Africa. And the cocaine went over the old hashish lines into Europe. That's how it started. So the guys who were running these lines became very rich. And that's the explanation why these guys are, a lot of them are of Moroccan descent.
The port of Rotterdam was the main money-making base for the Mocro Mafia. As the largest port in Europe, 30,000 ships pass through each year. In 2021, customs managed to seize 70 tons of cocaine. But this is only a small part of the drugs that enter the country.
I've seen guys who went from young guys, you know, with a North Face jacket on the scooter, you know, in the banlieue kind of area, to multi-millionaire who owns like millions of real estate in Dubai in a time span of 3 years. This can happen, you know? So it's not the gold dream, it's the white dream, you know? That's why Ridouan Taghi stands model for this new generation of Dutch criminals. He started dealing marijuana, and then at a certain point, he replaced the hashish for bricks of cocaine, and he became very wealthy.
50 kilometers from Amsterdam, Lazardreef High Security Prison, where the country's most dangerous criminals are locked up. Vito Shokrula regularly visits his clients there. At 32 years old, he is one of the Mocro Mafia's favorite lawyers. He's familiar with the profile of young people who are recruited by traffickers.
When you talk to these kind of guys, you find out that they don't have much in life. Sometimes they have a very, very bad childhood with a lot of violence, or they don't have anything, bad schooling, bad education, low intelligence, and they are very vulnerable and they are easy targets for guys in the underworld.
He's surprised by the speed with which these young recruits go from petty crime to extreme violence.
Before there was people, they were like professional hitmen, but nowadays you see young people, 18, 19 years, and they maybe start with stealing a bike, and then within 2-3 months, they get handed a Kalashnikov from someone and they shoot somebody.
Vito set up his practice in the suburbs of Amsterdam, in an area inhabited mainly by the Moroccan community.
Don't need it anymore?
No.
Here, you could better stop.
Sorry?
To film here.
Why should I be filming here?
They're gonna kick you. They're gonna beat you.
Okay, why?
Why? Because they're criminals. They don't want the neighborhood to be filmed.
Okay.
The guys that live here, one of them, his brother got life imprisonment for shooting at police, so they don't care. If the police here, they always come to arrest someone with 3, 4, 5 cars because they're gonna get into a fight. It's not safe.
Today, the Mocro Mafia accounts for half of his clientele. He built his reputation by getting one of their leaders acquitted. Ironically, his parents were fans of the film The Godfather, so they named him Vito in memory of Vito Corleone. The lawyer has noticed that the cases he has dealt with are getting increasingly violent, often with weapons of war. Like this raid on a house in the suburbs of Amsterdam, where the police discovered an arsenal.
So, this is a case about a large stack of weapons that was found in a garage with machine rifles, AK-47, grenades, revolvers. Everything that you need to kill people can be found in these kind of garage. If you're talking about license plates, stolen cars, heavy artillery, suits, hoodies, everything can be found in there. And it shows the level of professionalism that people use to kill people.
The war between the different Mocro Mafia gangs is said to have left more than 100 people dead.
The amount of violence and the way that they use it is getting more and more extreme as to show who's tougher, that they want to show each other like, I'm the boss, I can come with more extreme violence than you, and as to just try to scare each other off. But the thing is that it keeps going on and on and on, and with beheadings and shooting people in broad daylight, even if they are with a baby or with the wife. So there's no rules in this game.
Here are some examples of text messages sent by Ridouan Taghi to his men in the field. But it was during a raid that the Dutch police discovered that the Mocro Mafia had reached a new level of horror. June 2020, they storm a farm. Law enforcement agencies discovered that it served as a rear base for a drug gang, a competitor of Ridouan Taghi. They inspect the rooms one by one. They find no drugs or money. But in a garage, 7 containers transformed into a cell with soundproof walls and handcuffs fixed to the floor. In one of them, a stock of police uniforms. This container fitted out as a torture room, a dentist's chair with straps and handcuffs, and in the corner, pliers, pincers, and even a blowtorch. We managed to get in touch with a member of the Mocro Mafia.
Oh, wacht. We doen niet bij de Mare daar, bij die snackbar en zo daar bijna. Ja, maar daar kan je komen met de auto, toch?
Vito, the lawyer, acted as our intermediary. A meeting behind closed doors under a bridge in the suburbs of Amsterdam. The man is 34 years old. He belonged to a rival clan of Ridouan Taghi. He was the boss's right-hand man. 20 years of Mocro Mafia under his belt.
Problemen in de criminele wereld, zeg maar, als je jong bent, wil je snel geld verdienen. Je wilt mooie kleren, mooie auto's. Zo begin je bij de kleine dingen, een beetje stelen, dan ga je drugs verkopen. En voor je het weet zit je in de hoofdpijnwereld waar je niet terecht wilt komen. En dan is er eigenlijk geen weg terug bijna.
Very quickly, the young recruits become soldiers, capable of killing on command to prove their allegiance.
How much money is someone to get paid to kill somebody?
Ik denk het goedkoopste wat je kan vinden is €4.000. Ik denk Het duurste ligt aan hoe belangrijk de persoon is. Dan kan het oplopen tot miljoenen. Hier in Nederland is er geen eer en respect voor mensen. Als hier iemand dood moet, gaat hij dood. Of er dan een vrouw of een kind bij zit. Het maakt er niet uit als je maar doodgaat.
What do you think about Ridwan Taghi?
I have no answer of the question.
But what's his reputation?
Bad. Angry. How you say that? It's like a monster. A monster like a devil.
People are still afraid of him even though he's in jail.
Het is normaal. Hij heeft nog steeds zijn werkers lopen. Hij kan nog steeds mensen aansturen. Het is gewoon een hele machtige persoon met heel veel geld. Dus je moet heel goed uitkijken wat je zegt en wat je doet. Want hij laat je gewoon vermoorden als het moet. En hij ligt er niet wakker van.
A few months after this interview, the Mocro Mafia attacked the highest level of the state. Prime Minister Mark Rutte had just announced that he was going to give an exceptional budget of 430 million euros to help the police fight against drug traffickers. It was after this announcement that the police discovered that Mocro Mafia spotters had started to follow him. The politician, who used to be close to his fellow citizens and travel by bicycle, was immediately placed under heavy protection. To organize the counterattack, the Netherlands turned to Italy, a country that has become an expert in the fight against the mafia. The Dutch Minister of Justice herself went to Rome. For 2 days, she met with magistrates and police officers specializing in the fight against organized crime. She improvised a press conference on the spot with the Dutch media.
Je kunt je afvragen of wij allemaal in Nederland, van Nederlandse burgers, ons heel erg goed beseffen dat georganiseerde misdaad in onze straten zich afspeelt en zich ook heeft genesteld. Ik denk dat het goed is als we in Nederland ook minder naïef zijn en ook zien, die Italiaanse taferelen spelen zich gewoon af in onze straten.
She was appointed Minister of Justice and Security only a few months ago. At 45, she has become the new face of the fight against the cocaine mafia.
In Europe now, everybody discovers the strongness of the narco mafia. Do you think that Netherlands is in the front line now in Europe?
I think we are, because our open economy and our excellent infrastructure we have, which is great and beneficial for the typical Dutchman, is also being abused by criminals. So we see that we are an entrance towards Europe and the rest of the world of drugs coming in and going out. So that means that if we want it or not, we are in front of this battle, which is also with our neighbors, with Belgium, with France, with Spain, also with Germany and Italy.
You're going to fight against them. Are you afraid?
Personally?
Yeah.
No. Then I should have chosen another job.
Some people said, and some ministers said, that Netherlands could become a narco state. What do you think of that?
No. That would mean that the politicians are being paid by drug criminals, which is not the case.
Not the case?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Thank you so much.
But while the Netherlands is taking steps to counterattack, the Mocro Mafia has already found a new target: Belgium. The motorway between Antwerp and Rotterdam is nicknamed the drugs motorway. This is one of the routes used by traffickers to flood the European market with cocaine. In an unmarked vehicle, Thierry is on the lookout. He belongs to the Mobile Gendarmerie Brigade. Its mission, to intercept suspicious cars.
Plus spécialement regarder les véhicules BMW, Audi, véhicules assez rapides.
Suddenly, he has a catch. A car is suspicious.
Qu'est-ce qui vous saute aux yeux là?
Le comportement du conducteur, un peu méfiant, un peu nerveux. C'est vraiment un feeling, c'est la manière dont il me regarde quand il passe.
In a few seconds, he catches up with the car.
Vous êtes un acteur de Zwarte Polo, nummer plaat is. Anders zou ik het niet zien.
Thierry was right.
Le véhicule est connu déjà pour le transport de stupes.
The car is escorted to a motorway service area. On that day, the federal police and Belgian customs joined forces for a major operation. They are increasing the number of checks, and they search all the cars one after the other. This morning, most of the seizures involved cannabis.
Qu'est-ce que vous avez trouvé?
Een zakje met marijuana.
But also more unusual products, like these bottles of laughing gas. And in the late afternoon, the police hit the jackpot, thanks to this special van. Inside, a mobile scanner allows the cars to be examined in real time and to find what could be hidden under the bodywork.
Ça, c'est la lumière du autour de la voiture et au-dessus.
Below the light box, a suspicious bag, locked in a secret cache, invisible to the naked eye.
Faut trouver le système, comment ça ouvre.
Bart Vertessen heads the Federal Police's anti-drug unit, and in 10 years of service, he has learned to outwit the ingenuity of traffickers.
Il faut allumer le moteur, mettre le déverrouillage, il faut mettre un contact avec une petite vis qui est ici. Et alors, le deuxième coffre s'ouvre avec la cache aménagée.
Inside, in a simple plastic bag, 2 kilos of pure cocaine, a small fortune.
Ça représente quoi comme valeur marchande?
50 € le gramme. Vous pouvez faire vous-même. 50, le type il va pas bien dormir cette nuit.
This trafficker, a Dutchman of Moroccan origin, has just lost €100,000. He was coming from Rotterdam and was to deliver the cocaine to Brussels. In 2021, Belgium became a new cocaine hub. That year, the Belgian Federal Police succeeded in decrypting thousands of messages exchanged by traffickers. In a fortnight, they conducted more than 200 searches, seized 17 tons of cocaine and €1 million in cash. It was the Belgian federal prosecutor himself who announced the extent of the phenomenon on the news.
La grosse majorité des messages qu'on a interceptés est relative au trafic de drogue. Et on a découvert un monde hallucinant avec des sommes gigantesques d'argent. Rien que ce qu'on a saisi, les 17 tonnes de cocaïne, ils ont perdu 2 milliards en 3 semaines.
At the Brussels courthouse, federal prosecutor Frederik van Leeuw agreed to meet us. He still can't believe the amount of money generated by the cocaine trade.
Il y a des sommes en jeu qui avoisinent parfois les budgets de certains États. On parle de milliards d'euros et avec ces milliards d'euros, il y a tout un circuit de corruption qui se met en place et puis les vies ne coûtent plus rien.
The Belgian police have discovered a new type of crime that they are not used to. Gangs fighting for control over the cocaine trade. Murders, settling of scores, Kalashnikov shootings, and even grenade throwing, as in this footage captured by a surveillance camera in the city centre.
Nous sommes passés d'une criminalité organisée qui a plutôt tendance à se cacher, pour vivre heureux, vivons cachés, faisons de l'argent sans qu'on nous voit, à une criminalité organisée qui veut faire peur et veut prendre le dessus par la violence. Ce sont des situations qui gangrènent complètement l'Amérique latine et gangrènent certains pays, qui deviennent des États quasi gérés par les narcotrafiquants, ou en tout cas où les narcotrafiquants ont une énorme influence. Honnêtement, c'est une situation qu'on doit absolument éviter chez nous.
And today, it's the city of Antwerp that particularly worries the authorities. Located in the north of the country, 15 kilometers from the Dutch border. Antwerp, the second largest port in Europe, a gigantic industrial zone that has become the Mocro Mafia's new playground. A headache for the Belgian customs officers. They are housed in this large dark building in the heart of the port. The fight against cocaine trafficking has become their main task. A tough challenge, checking the 12 million containers that pass through the port each year. Christian van der Weeren is the Federal Director of Customs.
On va maintenant où le camion rentre sur notre site de vérification.
In this war, he has a secret weapon. Every day, customs officers select containers, and they direct them into this long concrete box. In reality, a giant scanner. Within a few minutes, the load is X-rayed.
Combien y a-t-il de camions qui sont scannés chaque jour?
On peut aller ici jusqu'à 70 à 80 conteneurs par jour.
Customs officers select containers according to their origin, the goods declared, or sometimes information provided by the police. The scans are then analysed in the offices.
Vous voyez, le scanner se fait de côté. Ce sont des olives qui étaient là-dedans. Et ici, vous voyez l'image. Il a la possibilité d'aller plus en détail et d'aller vérifier ici, est-ce qu'il y a rien d'abnormal là-dedans.
Nothing to report in this container. But the director is keen to show us the ingenuity of the traffickers on a previous seizure.
C'est un conteneur frigo. Et ici, ce n'est pas normal qu'il y ait une plaquette comme ça. Dans ce cas de figure, le cocaïne était incorporé dans la structure du conteneur.
The scan can also indicate how deep the cocaine is hidden.
Mais vous voyez ici que la couleur, la densité est différente. Et sur base de ça, les analystes donnent des instructions aux vérificateurs. Ils savent qu'il faut aller autant de mètres à l'intérieur pour trouver la drogue.
In this refrigerated lorry, customs officers only found about 100 kilos of cocaine. But in 2020, they made a record seizure, thanks to information gathered by the police. 11 tons of pure cocaine discovered in a single container, a total value of 450 million euros.
Jamais dans le monde, on a fait une constatation de tant de cocaïne dans un conteneur.
Here, cocaine seizures have increased 30-fold in 10 years. 3 tons in 2013, 90 tons last year. And customs officials estimate that this would represent barely 10% of the drugs that actually enter the country. In Antwerp, one man knows all the secrets of the port. He met us at a cafe in the city centre. It's hard to imagine this man was at the heart of drug trafficking in the 2000s.
When they ask me what is the best job for me, then I say smuggler, because everything is inside, in that time especially, because the parties, the money, but also, how you say, the pressure, it's exciting.
Paul Meyer was the head of a smuggling ring. He was paid by traffickers to bring their cargo of drugs safely into the port of Antwerp. 20 years of criminal life.
I know that people don't hear this, they don't want to hear this, and they want to see somebody who is saying now that I'm sad and I don't do it again. But I'm honest, it was a beautiful time. It was really a beautiful time. Okay, the product is not nice, I agree, I don't discuss also about that. So yes, I don't like it, but I miss the trafficking, all the things around smuggling. Yes, I miss.
How much money did you make?
A lot of money. A lot of money. Every 5 weeks, the turnover was 21 million, between 21 and 25 million euro every 5 weeks. And we make a lot of money. Yes, we make a lot of money.
According to the courts, he and his associates earned more than 700 million euros before the Belgian police caught up with them. In 2007, he was arrested in Bangkok, Thailand, and then extradited to Belgium, where he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Today, he's a free man. He claims he has gone into construction, but has forgotten nothing of the tricks he used to foil the customs officers. According to him, the port of Antwerp is a sieve.
Yeah, here you can see, all this is, you see the water here is the port. It's incredible big, till Holland.
Next to the historic centre of Antwerp, the port. It is huge, covering 135 square kilometres.
Okay. Now, here you can see, this one cannot go inside. Normally you cannot drive here. But now you can see yourself how easily that you can come with your car till the boat. And I mean, this is a big difference with Rotterdam, the closed ports. This is an open port.
Unlike the port of Rotterdam, which is completely fenced off and closed to the public, you can walk the length and breadth of the port of Antwerp and easily access the container storage areas that are normally off limits.
Now, I told you, look, you can see it yourself. It's easy to drive here and nobody is saying something. And when they want to organize this, to close this gate, look here, the wood. Now, 80% from the wood is coming from where? No, I think from countries like Brazil or Peru, Brazil or whatever.
The wood comes mainly from Latin America, as does the cocaine. This type of cargo is therefore the ideal hideout for traffickers. And we were able to access the containers without any control. For over half an hour, we walk around sensitive and normally off-limit areas without anyone stopping us.
This is a boat from South America. So when you are clever, you book your containers inside there. It's easy when you have this information now, and then you know that this boat is coming back here. So you need people here, or you don't need somebody. Somebody put the containers out, and simple. It's not difficult.
And to get this information, it's sometimes enough to simply talk to the dockers and seafarers who are on the quay.
Hey. Hoi. Jij werkt hier?
Nee.
Nee.
Nee, ik lig alleen met het schip daar.
Oké.
Zeg je wat?
Nee, wij zijn aan het kijken hoe het komt dat de Antwerpse haven zo open is. En dat je daar zo met de auto bij de boot kan komen.
Ja, maar normaal gesproken moet je aanmelden, hè, bij de portier en zo.
Ja, maar ik ben nou met de auto helemaal langs het water gereden. Tot met die boot van Panama. En er is niemand die iets zegt. Ben jij van die boot van Panama of?
Nee, ik lig daar.
Of hier?
Ik lig erachter. Zo'n tanker.
Oké.
Zo'n tanker. Wij reden dat we hier zijn gaan liggen, want we pas na het weekend hoeven we pas te melden.
Seemingly a harmless conversation, but for a smuggler, a valuable source of information.
Okay, it's in my language. But you can see how easy you can talk with people. He explained me everything. He gave me also other places here in Antwerp, in the port, where you can go also with your car. So, I mean, information is easily to get here. I only open my window and I ask something. And I didn't pay him for that information, so.
Corruption in the port is said to be rampant. In 2021, the discovery by the Belgian police of thousands of encrypted conversations between traffickers revealed the extent of the scourge. Customs, police, shipping companies, transport companies, security agencies. The cocaine mafia has infiltrated the entire port infrastructure. Their main target, dockers. We went to the bars in the port where they are said to meet, with a hidden camera, as the subject is sensitive here.
I hear a lot about corruption. How does it work? I mean, is there people coming to you and ask you for some money?
They try to have your name, but when you not cooperate with them, they threaten you to do something to you or your family. Dangerous business.
You better stay out.
Huh?
You better stay out of the business.
When you are in, it's very difficult to get out.
Do you know people who's... And do you think it's possible I can get in touch with some? No.
I think you better don't do that.
Watch out what you're doing.
The dockers know the risks of revealing too much.
Ik heb iemand moord van mij. Die er niet te maken heeft. We zijn hem betrapt. We zijn hem de bok gestoken. En 2 chain bij hem zouden ook in de bok gestoken. En een week later was hij al vrij. Maar zit je man in voorarrest.
Ja, om te zwijgen.
Je lijkt een babbel. Maar 6 maanden later was hij wel...
These threats are so frequent that the main dock workers union made a prevention clip to alert their members to the risks they take when working for the mafia. The clip features a smuggler who bribes a docker.
Ik krijg hier toch geen problemen mee, hè?
Maar nee, als je het niet wilt doen, dan vinden we wel iemand anders, hè. Maar dan loopt je wel 25.000 euro per keer mis. Zie, hier is al een klein voorschotje. Ça va, matje?
Goh, ja, oké, goed.
Een probleem dat...
The clip alerts the dockers. Once they get involved, it's almost impossible to get out.
Ik dacht op een paar konden rekenen, paljas. Is er mee aan het lachen, of wat? Schoon gezinnetje precies. Hm? Als we deze een bezoekje moeten brengen, moeten we zo fire doen.
For the traffickers, the dockers are an essential cog in the wheel. They are the ones who have control over the containers. Niels worked for 10 years on the docks. Today, he's retired.
My job was to lift containers from the ship. I operated mobile cranes, container cranes, and straddlers. That means the big machines that take the containers from A to B.
Usually, on a ship like this, the drugs are concentrated in one container, and the traffickers have to isolate it from the rest of the cargo in order to gain access. Niels was approached several times, but always refused.
The guy said to me, you have to put this container on the side. That was the time that he said it has to be fixed, it's broken. So I lift the container and underneath it was intact. So I said, something wrong here. And if you apply to them, they own you. And then they offer you some money.
And how much money can you make if you collaborate?
I heard amounts from 20,000, 10,000, 20,000 euros. Yeah. But once you get the 20K, the next time you get 10K maybe, or 5K, and you still have to do it. If you don't do it, you're fucked.
More surprisingly, the traffickers have found another way to bribe the dock workers. They pay them in cocaine.
Most of the young dockers who are applied now, they use coke themselves because they are not able to get the physical work that the docker has to do. So they use coke to be more fucked up, to have more power to work. And the traffickers, they know that, so they pay the guys also in coke. They say, okay, if you do this, you get 5 grams or this and that, or they make them addicted to coke and then they give them a small amount that they can sell themselves or whatever.
Do you think that we still can fight against these traffickers?
It's a war nobody can win. Nobody can win it.
In Antwerp, some neighbourhoods are now completely plagued by drug trafficking. Cocaine arrives in such quantities that it's sold on the streets. A gram is the cheapest in Europe, €40, half the price than in Paris.
Maintenant, on va aller dans le quartier chaud là, mais on va rester pendant 20 minutes, une demi-heure, pas plus longtemps, parce que sinon ça va bouger.
Philip de Winter has been a city councillor and member of parliament for more than 20 years. He leads a Flemish nationalist party, Vlaams Belang, which is classified as far right.
Hela, we klagen niet.
He is a major figure in Belgian politics, but he is only accompanied by 2 bodyguards, as the neighbourhood is in the hands of the Mocro Mafia.
Boven mij woont er een dealer. Allee, ja, hij is nou opgepakt. Zij zit de zaak voort.
Het is een gezinszaak. Allee, ja.
En dat is het gebabbeld, hè?
Today, he is one of the few politicians willing to speak out publicly about the violence in Antwerp. He wants to show us a scene filmed by a surveillance camera a few weeks earlier. A man shoots his gun at the front of a house. 8 shots. In the street. The shooter is not hiding, takes his time, and surprisingly, is filmed by his accomplice with a mobile phone.
Voilà, des incidents pareils, il y en a tous les jours, des tirs contre des maisons, des attentats avec des grenades, avec des cocktails Molotov. Il y en a eu 37 cet été, pendant 3 mois. Presque tous les 2-3 jours, il y a un attentat. Ces quartiers sont devenus des quartiers du mafia. Vraiment, c'est le mafia qui règne.
Tonight, Philip de Winter is due to attend the city council. Drug trafficking is on the agenda. This is a sensitive subject on which the mayor absolutely refuses to speak publicly.
J'ai plusieurs fois essayé d'interroger le maire.
Oui, il ne veut pas.
Pourquoi les autres pouvoirs publics, les autres acteurs politiques
Ils ne veulent pas des interviews avec des journalistes ou montrer la vérité dans ces quartiers parce qu'ils pensent que c'est une mauvaise publicité pour la ville d'Anvers. C'est l'omerta qui règne à Anvers, envers tout ce qui se passe avec le mafia de la drogue.
Est-ce que certains politiques ont peur d'affronter le sujet?
Évidemment, ils ont peur parce que c'est, soi-disant, parce que c'est du mauvais publicité pour notre ville, mais ils ont peut-être aussi peur parce que il y a des menaces, l'intimidation. Le maire a été intimidé et peut-être aussi des autres, on ne sait pas. Et moi aussi j'ai reçu des menaces, mais il faut les combattre maintenant que c'est encore possible.
The city council takes place in the historic centre of Antwerp, in the majestic 16th century city hall. A solemn and formal setting. But this does not stop Philip de Winter from pounding his fist on the table. He has just learned that some of the majority councillors have suggested that since the war on drugs seems to be lost already, cocaine use should simply be decriminalised. And that makes him angry.
Het criminaliseren van druggebruik ten aanzien van al diegenen die drugs gebruiken, cocaïne snuiven en weet ik veel wat, als een recreatief gebeuren. Daar moeten we paal en perk durven aanstellen. Waarom geen moreel appel van bekende Antwerpenaren, u op kop, om te zeggen het moet stoppen. U hebt bloed aan uw handen als gebruiker van cocaïne. Koop die cocaïne niet meer. U helpt en steunt de drugmafia. U bent rechtstreeks verantwoordelijk voor de aanslagen wanneer u cocaïne
the mayor does not want to enter into the controversy of decriminalization. According to him, the city simply cannot win this war on drugs alone.
We hebben bepaalde inspanningen binnen het korps rond drugs gedaan, korpsbreed en met gespecialiseerde eenheden. En die zijn heel succesvol. Dat zie je ook aan de criminaliteitscijfers. Maar de georganiseerde misdaad, die internationaal georganiseerd is, vaak vanuit Nederland wordt aangestuurd en door Antwerpse figuren vanuit het buitenland, die kun je met bestuurlijke politie niet raken.
In Antwerp, cocaine trafficking is estimated to be worth 50 billion euros. This is the equivalent of 5 times the city's budget. The drug traffickers are now extremely rich, and as in Holland, they do not hesitate to attack the state directly. On the 24th of September, police in Brussels foiled an attempt to kidnap the Minister of Justice. This member of the government, who had issued arrest warrants against Mocro Mafia leaders based in Dubai, now lives under heavy protection, in an undisclosed location.
Que la chose soit claire, si nous cédons aux criminels en tant que société, nous allons nous retrouver dans les conditions sud-américaines, c'est-à-dire dans un État narco où la mafia de la drogue est au-dessus des lois et dicte tout. Heureusement, ce n'est pas le cas chez nous et je suis sûr que ça ne s'arrivera jamais.
Belgium and the Netherlands may not be on the verge of becoming narco states yet. But one thing is certain. The cocaine mafia has moved into Europe and is more powerful than ever.